Hello everyone, Tony here bringing you a deck profile video. Today we're going to be going into my current favorite deck, Labrynth. Now, for those of you that don't know what this deck does, although it has become a little more popular recently, it is a fiend-based trap deck. The effects of this deck are to both filter your deck and field while also interrupting and disrupting your opponent's board. Before we get into the deck list, though, I have a few things I would like to say. First and foremost, I hope your Thanksgiving was great. That's kind of why this video has been delayed. I've also kind of been like no life in Pokemon Scarlet, having a great time playing that. Good luck to your Charizard raids if you're running those tonight. The other thing is we have hit 100 subscribers, which, honestly speaking, like I kind of never thought that I would even have 100 subscribers, right? And I know there are people out there with like thousands, whatever, but honestly speaking, the 100 subscribers is just humbling to think that people even come and watch this, and then to see that my videos have like blown up to a couple of thousand views now. Like that Kaiba video, you guys like showed a lot of love to it, and I'm so grateful. Like you have no idea, and even like looking at my analytics, where like I think the last time I checked it, like in the last 28 days, 260 hours of my content has been consumed, right? It's like my heart is like kind of like bursting with joy. It's so hard to explain, but like it is so nice to see that you guys enjoy my content despite me not being like a tournament player, or like just like a big name. Just to even have that kind of reception is just, it's a nice feeling. So I want to thank you guys for watching so much. And again, 100 subscribers. We're at 103 right now at the time of this recording. So it's just hopefully I can keep showing you guys a good time. That's the first and foremost thing, because we're here to have a good time. And I just hope that we can keep growing and hopefully bringing in more people to like the fun side of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this game doesn't have to be stressful. This deck will stress you out though if you play against it. This is probably going to be the most tournament-centric deck that I've put on this channel yet. I actually have a side deck to this deck because I was considering going back to playing locals, maybe some tournaments and stuff, since my leg is finally healing up and I'm starting to walk again. That out of the way, Labrynth. So this deck is, in essence, a beautifully crafted deck. When you think Labrynth, you think maze, and this deck is constructed to make your opponent play around like a maze. It's like the concept is like really well thought of, and it's like one of the most fun decks. Oops, little sneak peek there, but it's one of the most fun decks I've had in a long time. That's like archetype based at that, because I'm not really a huge fan of archetypes. But with stuff like this, like when it's well crafted like this, and it's just so fun to play. So let me get into the deck list and stop rambling now. So I'm playing 3 Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle. So I play 3 of her because I want to see her. Like, yes, she is searchable with Ariana. However, with the way that I play this deck, it's like I absolutely have to see this card. You can play it at 2. Play it at 2. Like, if you're gonna play the deck, play it at 2. I play it at 3 because I have a crazy need to see this card and like kind of start filtering my trap. So what she does is, while you have a set card in the field, she cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And when you a normal trap card is activated, you can quick effect activate her effect and search your deck for a trap card, normal trap card, with a different name, and set it. Her other effect is, if you activate the effect of a Labrynth card that turn, you can special summon her if she's in your hand. So if you search her with Ariana, for example, you can activate her effect and quick effect special summon her, which is like kind of insane to me that you can even set that up like that. So I'm playing 3 of her. Again, you could play 2, you could play 3. Yeah, whatever you feel like playing is good. Playing 1 Lovely. Before, this card was a 2 of, but because of the release of Lady, this card is only needed as 1 of, but she's still strong. Your opponent cannot chain monster effects to your trap card effects, which is kind of important, because if your opponent has like a Dragoon, for example, while this card's face up on the field, and you want to activate one of your trap cards that might get rid of Dragoon cannot negate that trap card, which is really good. Once returned, you can set a normal trap card from your graveyard face down, but you can't activate that trap card if you don't control a fiend monster. She's kind of meant to keep recycling and giving you like pieces to use while you filter your deck out with Lady, as well as making sure you stay in control of the game. I personally use this card when I'm like set up to spam Time Seal, so that way my opponent can't draw anymore. It's to kind of like lock them out of that part of the game. 3 Ariana. Ariana has the effect of, which is normal summon. You can search your deck for a Labrynth card. It can be a monster, spell, or trap. If a normal trap card, no, if one of your opponents, if a monster on the field, period, not one of your opponents, if a monster on the field is removed from the field by a card effect, while she's face up, you can draw a card, then you can special summon a fiend monster from your hand or set a spell or trap card. You know, most of the time I use her to search for Welcome Labrynth or Lady. Now the small pieces, I'm playing one chandelier and one stove. Initially in the first versions of the deck, I was playing 2 of each of these, but the more I play this deck, the less I feel like these cards are like needed. It's not that they're bad cards, it's just that the rest of the deck just does so much well. For example, him, you can send him from your hand or the field to the graveyard and discard a card. You can set one Labyrinth, spell, or trap from your deck, from your hand or deck. And then if a monster leaves the field by a normal trap card effect while this is in your graveyard, you can special summon it. So basically, you're just going to use this to search for like Welcome Labrynth, or when it comes out, Big Welcome Labrynth. Then he might have a little more like utility, but for the time being, he doesn't really feel necessary like at more than one. And then Chandelier, same thing with discarding the set out Labyrinth, spell, or trap, but instead when a card is removed from the field by a normal trap card, he gets added to your hand. So like they're good for recursion purposes, and they do give you multi-use, which is good, especially being that you can send them from the hand or field to the graveyard to get the searches. So like they're not horrible cards by any means, but I do feel like they're not like, I don't think it's fair to say that they're not vital to the deck, but they're not as important as the rest of the deck. And then the single copy of Absolute King Backjack. This card is like really, really good. At one point I was playing 3 of this. Right now I'm testing it at 1. You probably could just replace these and play 3 if you want to play 3 of these. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal trap card, you can set it and activate it this turn. When he's sent to the graveyard, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then organize them in any order of your choosing. So you could like use him, like link away to like Link Rebo. Look at the top 3, set a normal trap card up there, and then banish him, activate it like that. Or you might send him to the graveyard with I think it's like Arcfiend's Ghastly Glitch. You can send him with that and then kind of set your. He's a good setup card. He's a good It's like he kind of platforms like weirdly depending on how you need to use him, aggressively or defensively. It's a good card though. Like I might actually just swap the 2 appliances out for 2 more copies of him. Now the other non Labrynth monster that I do play 3 Kashtira Fenrir's. Now I want to stress this out. You don't have to play these cards. I play them because I like disruption, especially if you go first and he's in your opening hand. You summon him, search for another Kashtira Fenrir, and then you can start your plays off like that, right? So it kind of gives you access points to like a bigger hand. It gives you pressure for your opponent when they start playing. What he does is, when he attacks or your opponent activates a card effect, well, a monster effect specifically, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls and banish your face down. That's a once per turn effect on both players' turn. So when he attacks, you banish something. If your opponent on their turn activates a monster effect, you banish something. It's a good pressure card. He has a nice attack stat at 2400, so being a free body for 2400 is really good. And then again, you can search himself out with copies of himself. Those can be replaced with like lava golems. They can be replaced with backjacks. This is kind of like a win more card. You don't have to play it whatsoever. The spell cards are actually pretty simple. So I'm playing 3 Pot of Prosperities. You could play Pot of Extravagance over this. I like Pot of Prosperity because it lets me search for what I want. But Pot of Extravagance is a +1 with the condition that you can't draw for the rest of the turn. But really, like, with that in mind, like, just this for me works a little better for what I need from my deck. Again, it's purely preference. If Pot of Extravagance works better for you, play Extravagance. Then I play one Labrynth. As of right now, the field spell is really just a Windmar card. You get the bonus effect of if you activate a Welcome Labrynth normal trap card, you can add this effect. Destroy one card in the field. If it was a regular normal trap card that didn't have Labrynth in his name, you could special summon a Fiend Monster from the graveyard. This kind of plays into when you use stuff like Ghastly Glitch. You can activate Ghastly Glitch, blow up a card, then send Fiendish Rhino to the graveyard. And then the second part of this activates, because it's not targeting from what you special summon from the graveyard. So you activate this effect as Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. You would activate the Fiendish Rhino and then send another Fiend to the graveyard. That way your opponent wouldn't be able to like crow your target. So if you need to make the adjustment, then you can. Most of the time you're going to Fiendish Rhino, like let's say End of Anubis if you're playing against Tearlament. And then just kind of block out your opponent's Tearlament stuff, and it's kind of safe from being crowed because all that stuff will happen on resolution. But yeah, I only play 4 spell cards. So to the traps. 3 Welcome Labrynth. This card is awesome. Especially summon the Fiend Monster from your deck, and then for the rest of the turn, until the end of your next turn, I believe, you can only special summon Fiend Monsters or whatever. Irrelevant, because literally all you ever summon in this deck ever is Fiend Monsters, really. There are some exceptions to that, obviously, but for the most part, like 98% of the time you're playing mostly just the Fiend stuff. Like, even if you open Kashtira Fenrir, this is a trap card, so it's just going to get set, and then you activate it. Then if, while this card's in a graveyard, except the turn was sent there, if a monster leaves the field by your normal trap card effect, you can set it from the graveyard. You can activate one effect of this, though, per turn. So it's either you're going to get the special summon or you're going to get to reset it. 3 Infinite Impermanence. This is the only hand trap I play. And the reason for that is this deck kind of disrupts with what you have face down already. So with that in mind, being that it's a normal trap, you can chain Lady to it and get a different trap card. You could reset this card with Lovely. It just fits nice, it fits well to the deck. And then even with like the field card, you activate this, you like negate an effect, and then you get to special summon a monster from a graveyard. So it fits well with this deck. I do know that some people don't play it at all. I kind of just like playing it for the simple reason that it's searchable in this deck and reusable as well. 3 Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. This card's pretty good. It kind of filters your deck a little bit. You can send your appliances. You can send Anubis if you're playing that. You can send Fiendish Rhino to send war cards. So, it lets you destroy any card in the field. You can destroy a back row if you need to. It filters your deck for you, and then it also gives you most of your effects of when a card is removed from the field by your own effect. 3 Dogmatic Punishments. You can flip this and play 2 of this and 3 compulsories. I play 2 compulsories and 3 of this. This I mostly pair with like Garura or Ensis. Sometimes when the situation calls for it, you can throw a bigger monster in the graveyard if you need to. But for the most part, it's really just to get you the extra draw or the extra like destruction. If you get to blow up 2 cards because of Dogmatic Punishment, then for the most part you Icarus attacked without sacrificing anything because the card comes from your extra deck. And in this deck, you don't necessarily use your extra deck too much. Like, you can, but it's not as important. It's like the extra deck in this deck is more of like a tool for the rest of your deck. 2 Solemn Strikes, because sometimes you just need to say no, and I like being able to say no without being interrupted. I was playing this card at 3 before, but 2 just kind of feels like a better number to play. Sometimes it's better to just shut down rather than disrupt. I have hair in my mouth. Ugh. All right, it's gone. Sorry about that. 2 Ice Dragon's Prison. This card is pretty good against like certain matchups. So like Tearlament, you can kind of deal with some of the stuff with this. Um, it's a good answer for Dragoon if you're still like if your local is full of like people that kind of live or die by Dragoon. And it'll also proc all your effects of hey, if a card's removed from the field, do this. Two compulsories because this card just kind of gets rid of like a lot of problems in a sense. Like it's very disruptive. So if you're playing against people that like let's say play Cybers and they go into transcode, as soon as you like pop transcode back, most of the time they have to like kind of rebuild their field, so they have to waste more resource to get to that point. Yeah, I mean, Compulsory is a good card. You can compulse your own cards and then still proc all the effects of when a monster leaves, you get this effect. Terrors of the Overroot. This card is pretty insane in certain situations. It's very disruptive too. If you go first, you set this versus Tearlament, you can actually disrupt their fusion card, provided they have another card in the graveyard. What this does is you target a card in the field, send it to the graveyard. Well, no, you target a card on the field and then the card in the graveyard. You send the card in the field to the graveyard and then you set the card from the graveyard that you targeted. So if they have like a spell card or like another trap card that you don't mind dealing with, or even just a different monster overall, activate this, send it to the graveyard. You can even activate this to like disrupt Tearlament in a sense where if they play the field card, for example, do whatever mill, activate one of the fusion effects from the graveyard, you can activate this, send a fusion card to the graveyard, and then set the monster, now they can't fuse. It's really, really good disruption card for other strategies too. But being that we're in a tier 0 format right now, Shizu Tearlament deck, it's really, really frustrating to know it. Last 3 cards in my deck, I am playing playing one destructive, well, this is a long ass thing. Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. This card has grown on me. At one point I was playing 3 of this, but being that now we're not playing so many like link decks, for example, this card has kind of lost some of its strength. So what it does is both players turn all their face-up monsters face down, and the face-down monsters that can't go face down, like link monsters or cards that are unaffected by card effects, for example, get sent to the graveyard. This is important because the second part of this effect, where the players send the cards to the graveyard, does not target and it doesn't affect monsters. So like if your opponent has a Dragoon that burnt their effect out and then you activate this, he's not affected by the Book of Moon effect of this card, but because the game forces the player to send all their face-up cards to the graveyard, Dragoon gets removed from the field. It's a good way to deal with cards that are unaffected by card effects, cards that might be a headache, or if your opponent is playing like a heavy link deck and you just activate this in the middle of everything they're doing, and they have like 2-3 links on the field, and if they have no negates, they're all gone. I am playing a single copy of Trap Trick. I'm playing this card to just kind of like help filter the deck out, being that you take 2 cards out of your deck for this, you banish a copy of it from your deck and then set another copy. It's just takes 2 cards out of your deck. It makes your deck run a little faster, and being that you can activate the card that you set this turn, it kind of just helps you be ready for like proper situations. And then you saw this card earlier. I am playing a single top copy of Time Seal. Because of how Lovely works, and Lady, you can essentially search for this card and then keep using it with Lovely. It almost feels like you put your opponent in like an infinite Genjutsu if you're a Naruto fan. And it's an easy way to tell people. Initially I was going to take this card out for this deck profile, but I kind of want to be a little more true to it. It's honestly speaking, this is not going to be like meta breaking or anything like that. Like it's a little trolly like thing. Like I really just use it to like kind of mess with my friends. But yeah, overall, being able to reuse Time Seal and then them putting Time Seal 1 just kind of felt like a mistake. So now we're gonna go into the extra deck. The extra deck kind of really doesn't matter outside of a few core cards. However, there are instances where this isn't true. So I am playing a copy of Dragoon, Starving Venom, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, Garura, and 2 Elder Entity Antis as fusions. I can virtually go into none of these without proper health. This card is never gonna like hit the field. It's always sent to the graveyard for Dogmatica Punishment. This card, this card, this card. I can summon. Same thing with this card, and I'll explain this card in a second. The Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. Muriel Logic, Aggregator. Sorry about that. It's long ass name. One Babushka, Terribly Tired Tapir. He's a drunk. I don't know why they give him a pillow. One number 60 Dungarees the Timeless. Again, this card is probably the only one of these that I would go into. This is here because it is a fiend. I can go into it because Ariana is a level 4, but most of the time it's not worth it. He's a target for Dogmatica punishment because when he sends to the graveyard, you can target a card on the field and negate its effects. I believe it's any card, or is it just monster? One face-up card, yeah. So you can target one face-up card on the field and negate its effects. And then the Exceed. So these you'll probably go into more than anything else. 2 copies of McCracken. This card is pretty good. You can discard a card from your hand and special summon a fiend monster from your graveyard. If a monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you contribute 1 fiend monster instead. So, this card has like a big field protection. So if you have like, let's say, McCracken on the field with like Lovely and Ariana face up, for example, your opponent lightning storms, you can just tribute like, let's say, the Ariana and protect your board, or you can tribute her because she only has 1,000 attack and protect your board. So like the blanket protection as well as being able to res stuff from the graveyard is like nice. It just requires 2 fiend monsters, which has no feat. Everything with the exception of Fenrir is a fiend. And then of course the Nightmare monsters, they're all fiends. You're probably going to like him and him more than anything. Nightmare Phoenix has kind of lost some of its like importance in a sense. Like, it's not a terrible card, but like these two obviously have like a more impact like right now. So that's my extra deck. Again, it's nothing big. Most of it is just used for prosperity or extravagance fodder. So the side deck I'm currently running, don't judge me for this, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments since 2012. So yeah, the first it's 3 Chaos Hunters. With this on the field, your opponent, well, I don't think anybody could. No, your opponent specifically cannot banish cards. This is important because if your opponent is playing the Ishizu cards, they can't banish them from the graveyard to get their effects. If your opponent plays Dimension Shifter and then special summons right after, and you special summon this, your opponent can't banish cards anymore, I believe. Well, I have to check that ruling, but I'm pretty sure your opponent can't banish like the rest of your stuff. But I mainly played this for just like the Ishizu like stuff because like that deck is annoying. 2 Lava Golems, Fiend monster that can kind of get rid of my problems. You tribute 2 and then just, you know, special summon him. It feels good that cards that are this old are like still meta relevant, right? I'm playing 1 copy of End of Anubis. I will probably move this to my main deck when I get my Fiendish Rhino. I'm still waiting for it in mail. This card, while it's face up on the field, your opponent. Oh, actually, I think it's not the player. Hold on. Well, yeah, while this card is face up on the field, all spell, trap, and monster effects that target cards in the graveyard or that activate in the graveyard don't. This will disrupt you a little bit, especially with cards that like to activate from the graveyard. So you like if you have a Welcome Labrynth from the graveyard, it can't set itself, but you could still use like it while it's on the field. It's more it'll disrupt your opponent more than it'll disrupt you. That's the main thing. And being he's a fiend monster, you can just come out with Welcome Labrynth. You can bring him out with McCracken. You can filter the deck really fast. You only really need to play 1. 3 Super Polys. This will let me use the Starving Venom, Garura. It'll let me use the Mud Dragon. It's really just to get rid of stuff off my opponent's field without being interrupted. 2 Dimensional Barriers. Again, Tearlament has kind of gotten to a point where it's just starting to feel unhealthy for the game. And most of my side deck is meant to deal with Tearlament. You just call Fusion and your opponent can't fuse. This is a side-in if you go first. If you see it, great. If not, just go about your business. 2 summon limits. I'm I'm probably gonna take these out. I'm not too sure for what. Initially I was playing this alongside two Rivalry of Warlords, but I don't feel like right now the meta like really calls for you to play Rivalry of Warlord. This could be two, like this could be like another compulsory. This could be another Karma Cannon. I am citing one Karma Cannon in case I do run into a Link or Monster Effect unaffected by card effect centric decks. And then I am playing one copy of Awakening the Dragon. This card I cite in if I go first and I set my board up and you're anticipating a Lightning Storm. The fun thing about this though is that you can actually trick your opponents into destroying this card. So if I like normal summon Ariana, for example, grab Lady, special summon Lady, and then like set a different trap card, let's say a compulsory, for example. And then my opponent Lightning Storm and wants to destroy my back row. I chain like the compulsory, let's say I put Ariana back to my hand. Well, target Ariana, but then I chain Lady. And then I can set this for my deck, and then it would destroy this. And what this does as well is destroy while it's face down. You can special summon it from your extra deck. So because you have that option, you then get to bring out Dragoon or Ultimate Falcon. Dragoon gives you access to Omni Negate, while Ultimate Falcon is unaffected by card effects. So overall, you get like your choice of two big boss monsters. I'm gonna do a quick shout out real quick. My friend Desmond, or Black the Reaper as he goes by, you can check out his Twitch, Black the Reaper. He does play Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes. He plays Overwatch too, but overall, like he put me onto like a lot of this stuff with this deck. And this was entirely him. Like he told me about these cards because I hadn't played Yu-Gi-Oh since like 2012. So I'm like missing out on so many cards. So with the exception of this, I had no idea that this existed. I had no idea this existed, and like him, like telling me about that stuff kind of opened my eyes to like some of the cool stuff you could do with Labrynth. He actually told me about Labrynth too. So huge shout out to him. But yeah, so this is the deck. The video is running long as usual, so once again I am sorry. I'm also extremely tired, so if I sound like I'm kind of out of it towards the end of this, I truly apologize. It's been a long night, a lot of rating today. That being said, once again, I really want to appreciate openly how much you guys come and watch my content. Like, it means the world to me that you guys have taken the time out of your days, whether it's 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, to come and watch my videos. So once again, thank you. And we're at 100 now. Let's see if I can get to 1,000 eventually. It's a big goal, but we'll see. Thanks again, man. Next deck list is going to be Adamantipator. That's a guarantee. Bye-bye.